Yeah, you see, this is a big point to get across. People, and I understand why, because that's what they're led to believe. They see private banks and they see the central banks in the different countries as separate, but the same families control both sides. Now, this is the game. They control the game. So whether private banks go out of business or not in this crash and crisis that's going on, they control the central banks. They will control, if we allow them to do it, the world central bank, and therefore they will control the system. The names will be different, but the system will be controlled by them.
That's right.
That system equals control. That's the whole idea.
David Icke, let's finish up with this topic.
Work as one unit all around the world. They move as one unit because they have a central control system.
David, stop there. Let's back it up about a minute. I want you to be able to finish that point when we come back. Stay with us. All right, folks, we're back live with David Icke, our guest for the balance of the radio show today. We'll open the phones up towards the end of the show in the next hour. The key here is that the unprecedented action out in the open of the president, all the major leaders of the two parties, the Treasury Secretary saying there's going to be a depression, financial abyss. You've got to pass this banker bailout bill. And you read the bill, immunity, unlimited power. They can do whatever they want, commit basically any financial crime they want. And it doesn't say $850 billion. Doesn't say $700 billion. It says $5 trillion, if you really read the fine print, as Bloomberg Financial and others reported. So they are the ones terrorizing the market to plunge. Then they forced through the bill. And last Friday, we had the congressman on. It was on C-SPAN. They were threatened with physical martial law, David. Because I know you've been traveling, you may not know this. We can play the clip if you want to hear it. They were threatened with martial law if they didn't pass it. Now, CNN, BBC, Army Times are reporting the Army is to be used during riots. But again, problem, reaction, solution. They implode the economy. The welfare checks stop going out. Things break down. There's riots. The military saves us. The precedent is set. So just amazing how they're right out in the open doing all of this, David.
Yeah, because we've reached that point, Alex, where it has to break the surface to become the changes in society that they've been working covertly for so long. Now, this is the key in terms of America for what's happening on so many levels, in my opinion anyway. And I've been writing this for years. And what I said was that they're going to use America, or are using America, to destroy America. Why? Because they want a world government. A world government cannot possibly have total global power while there's any superpower with massive military and financial might that has, through that, the ability to say to the world government, excuse me, we're not doing that. We're not accepting what you're dictating and telling us to do. So what they've been doing, and it's been so blatant to me, is that they are using America to destroy America. First of all, militarily. They're stretching America all over the place militarily and weakening them on that level. And now they're attacking the American economy on a massive scale. And this trillion, and as you rightly say, basically open checkbook so-called bailout, is not designed to solve the crisis. It's designed to further massively undermine the American economy and American financial security. And who's holding this debt now that goodness knows how much more debt that's coming in, and the debt that's already owed by America? Not that it is debt, it's money that doesn't exist. It's a scam. But people like China are holding massive amounts of this. And I found it very interesting, that Henry Paulson, as chairman and CEO of Goldman Sachs, which was massively involved in this subprime scam, then becomes Treasury Secretary. He has apparently made at least 100 visits to China discussing financial matters with the Chinese authorities. And here's China picking up more and more of this debt. I was warned ages ago by various insiders, watch for the time when China becomes a big economic and military power, because that's when you're going to see the action start. And what happens when China says, hold on a second, we hold all this debt, therefore, you're not paying us back, you're getting in more and more trouble, we want the assets, please, for the debt that we hold. Then you've got potential for conflict between the two. And I was told a long time ago that It's leading to a conflict involving China, the Third World War, to bring in finally this whole structure of world government, world central bank, world army, microchip population, world currency, and all the rest of it. So all these things are moving as one unit. They appear to be, to most people, unconnected as you look at the invasion of Iraq and Afghanistan and the financial. It's all
that was also meant to demonize
one flow of energy.
That was also meant to demonize the name of the U.S., to put the sins of the New World Order on the U.S., like they used the Soviets previously to carry out their dirty work. They also need a global economic crisis that can be blamed on America to set up their world government. And now, all over the financial papers the last 2 weeks, they proposed the private banks becoming the world government. I mean, that is so unbelievable.
I was reading a piece when I was traveling about the head of the IMF saying that the IMF should become a central coordinating, basically police force for the global banking system. There's the open suggestion now of this world central bank that we've been talking about for so long, and so what we're looking at is. Ironically, while America is getting this flack, while America gets the finger pointed at it, actually, although it's firing the bullets, if you like, in places like Iraq and Afghanistan and what have you, the gun's being loaded in Europe, and there in Europe, you know, in the center of the secret society web. But Europe is basically going, who, me? I've got nothing to do with it. It's America.
David Icke, got a break. When we come back, long segment. I want to hear your solutions. How to combat this now. I say expose is really behind it, A, but what else can we do? Instead of the states getting rid of some of the 3 million police, or all the welfare, or all the largesse to get people domesticated, and all the spending and the billions per major city, billions per city. New York's had $5 billion in cameras put in the last 4 years. Boston in 1 year had $2 billion worth of cameras put in. Homeland Security's now announced all those free federal traffic cameras, they were DARPA designed by the Pentagon to watch you. They're scanning your faces. No, instead of doing any of that, they are saying they're going to bail out all the states. $7 billion for California, $5 billion for Florida. They're going to, quote, bail out select crony corporations owned by the same private central banks. The stock market's down by 700-plus points right now and plunging, dwarfing what happened last Monday. They promised you if you submitted and gave them unlimited power, they'd be nice to you. And now there's debates on talk radio and TV about, did they say the bailout would do that? Or are people making that up? They know the public doesn't have a memory for last week, or does the public? David, I want to finish up with the economy and get into the nature of reality, but there seems to be a shocking of the conscious. And I've seen that in some psychological tests they've done at major universities studying rodent psychology, which is very similar to human group psychology, in these controlled mazes, shocking, yelling, noise, heat, cold on rats, till they finally just go into a catatonic state and shake in the corner. And, you know, having CBS News come out and say, mercury is good for your brain. Taking mercury shots helps your brain cells. Now, that's an actual newscast. I've played it 50 times. I'm not going to play it today, but if you want, I'll play it. Or I've got MSNBC saying, actually, poison in food is good from China. We need poison in the food. Yeah. You know, and then tens of thousands, just finishing up this statement, tens of thousands get sick from melamine on purpose in the milk because it shows on a protein test, if somebody tests it, that it has high protein. And then it turns out it's in a bunch of food lines here in the U.S., where most of the food additives and drugs get made for the U.S. is now in China. Same for Europe. And they admit it's killing hundreds of Chinese that drank too much, and it attacks your kidneys, gives you cancer. And the FDA comes out yesterday and says, actually, it's good for you. So it seems like they're almost lying to be caught, as you said, to surface and shock everyone into just kind of submitting. Your comments? Well,
this will be kind of very interesting, what you've been talking about with the food additives and stuff, when we get into the nature of reality and the way it's manipulated. But in terms of the laboratory mouse or the laboratory rat, funnily enough, in my talks I do a section about that. And it's very clear that when you put it all together, Alex, when you put all the shocks, all the constant instructions, all the do's and don'ts, all the punishments for increasingly fine detail little things like I talked about last time, people being fined in Britain for feeding the birds, people being fined for putting a card in their car saying it's for sale when it's their own car. What it is like is exactly like the laboratory rat, because, of course, when they're doing those experiments, when the rat goes down certain channels, it gets a shock. After a few shocks, it doesn't go down that channel anymore, and you can take the shock equipment away, it still won't go down that channel because it's been programmed not to do that by the carrot and the stick. It's okay going down this one, we'll leave you alone. Go down that one, there's a problem. Now, take this on a mass scale of all the things that are being thrown at us, and that's what they're doing. They are manipulating so many shocks on the mind, creating so many fears, so many traumas, that we become subservient. And this, and basically anything for a quiet life. Yes, sir. No, sir. Just save me.